On Saucier, Fox News, Israel's military has renewed calls for mass evacuations as it widens its ground offensive across the Gaza Strip. State Department spokesperson Matthew Miller lays out how Israel is trying to limit the displacement of civilians.
We do not want to see the same level of civilian casualties. We do not want to see the same level of mass displacement. They briefed us on plans that were very detailed, that they said were intended to avoid mass displacement and civilian casualties.
More than 3/4 of Gaza's population has been displaced. The U.S. military says 3 commercial ships in the Red Sea were struck by ballistic missiles fired from Houthi-controlled parts of Yemen over the weekend. A U.S. warship shot down 3 drones in self-defense. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan says the attack was likely orchestrated by Iran.
We will continue as we go forward to consult very closely with allies and partners to determine and take all appropriate responses. We have every reason to believe that these attacks, while they were launched by the Houthis in Yemen, were fully enabled by Iran.
The attacks marking an escalation in a series of maritime attacks in the Middle East linked to the Israel-Hamas war. Democrats and the GOP again disagreeing on spending levels for things like aid to Ukraine and the southern border. Fox's Chad Pergram has more from Capitol Hill.
Inclusion of robust border security provisions are a must for many GOP members to pass a spending plan for Ukraine and Israel. All Republicans want to boost military funding for Israel, but GOP members are mixed when it comes to Ukraine. This is why border security is a possible sweetener. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell made clear to President Biden that the international aid package must include money for the border. Talks are slow, with the border serving as the biggest holdup. The goal is to wrap this up by Christmas. Time is slipping off the clock.
As Congress tries to pass a supplemental spending bill before the holiday break, America's listening to Fox News.
I'm getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20, a Pfizer vaccine.
So am I, because I'm
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
How they found the car. I'm Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending this hour. Someone was carjacked in Lawrence Sunday night. Donnie Burgess reports a piece of high-tech equipment helped police sniff out the criminals.
License plate readers in Beech Grove made quick work of 2 suspects who stole a car in Lawrence Sunday night. Within hours, police had the stolen car in their sights.
Driver and passenger of that vehicle did not yield. Instead, fled in the vehicle, leading Beech Grove officers on a very short vehicle pursuit.
Lawrence Deputy Police Chief Gary Woodruff says the suspects were stuck on a dead-end road and tried to make a run for it. One suspect was caught thanks to the help from Indy Metro Police. One suspect is still on the run. Donnie Burgess, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
A man was found shot to death in a Nissan on I-65 Sunday afternoon.
Our investigators are still working to answer a lot of the questions that we have about how this happened and who's responsible, and then they're working diligently to do that.
Indiana State Police Sergeant John Perrine says the vehicle was found stopped at the top of the ramp from northbound I-65 to southbound Martin Luther King Boulevard. A suspect in 9 different robberies going back to November 21st was arrested last Friday, says IMPD. Javante Smith was put in handcuffs after police responded to an armed robbery at a Kroger off 16th Street. Investigators put together info on a suspect's car, which led to the arrest of Smith. Stolen items from Kroger were found in the vehicle. He faces a charge of armed robbery. And Shaq Leonard's headed to Philly. The former Colts linebacker, who was released by the team in November, signed with the Eagles Monday. On the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com. Now here's your forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
A mostly cloudy night is ahead with lows in the low to mid-30s. Then we'll start our Tuesday with a wintry mix before we change over to all rain by the afternoon hours. Highs in the low to mid-40s. If any snow accumulation occurs, it will be very little. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Stephen Deanna for 93 WIBC.
Save big every day during Lowe's 25 Days of Deals. Shop daily deals for the whole home. Lowe's 25 Days of Deals.
With tens of thousands of satisfied patients across America, it's no surprise QC Kinetics gets 5-star reviews.
I'm feeling on top of the world because of QC Kinetics.
I'm able to do the things that I wasn't able to do for a long time.
I can recommend them highly. I would recommend QC to anybody. QC Kinetics has changed my life.
I couldn't believe it. I honestly was skeptical, but the pain went from a 10 to a 0.
Real people with real lasting relief from joint pain.
QC Kinetics Regenerative Medicine is regenerating me.
Super successful, and I recommend
recommend everyone seek out QC Kinetics as an alternative to surgery.
This non-surgical approach is definitely the future.
I tell as many people as possible. I am an ambassador. I love QC Kinetics.
QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in advanced regenerative medicine. No drugs, no surgery. Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics 317-559-PAIN. That's 317-559-PAIN. 317-559-PAIN.
If you're over 50, Absolute Wealth Management LLC is offering a special deal to kickstart your financial journey in 2024. You can have your 2023 tax return prepared and filed, including Schedules A, B, and D for just $79.95. Call us now at 317-288-0634. That's 317-288-0634, or visit AbsoluteWealthManagementLLC.com. Investment advisory services offered through Gradient Advisors LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Gradient Advisors LLC and its advisors do not render tax, legal, or accounting advice.
Rhino Shield's 25% off special has been extended through December. Plus, receive a free game console just by having your job done by spring of 24.
Rhino Shield.
We're all different. 1 in 5 of us live with a mental illness. Don't filter who you are. Talk to someone you trust. Learn more at bringchangetomind.org.
This is the Tony Kinnett Cast on 93 WIBC.
Good evening and welcome to the Tony Kinnett Cast on 93 WIBC. Are you feeling dangerous out there, either in your car as you're driving, or perhaps you're getting back from church on Sunday and you're just feeling a little dangerous this Monday? Well, if you're an evangelical Christian, that's because you are. You are the most dangerous, super scary, evil threat that the United States has ever faced. And that's according to the brilliant Bill Carville over on Bill Mayer. And I just want you to hear this for yourself so that you don't think I'm pulling one over on you. This is what true danger is.
Johnson and what he believes is one of the greatest threats we have today to the United States. When I promise you, I know these people.
Well, you're talking about Christian nationalism.
Absolutely. This is a bigger threat than Al Qaeda to this country.
So let's reiterate. So James Carville, who is a Democrat strategist, goes on Bill Mayer, and he says Speaker Mike Johnson, the Republican evangelical from Louisiana. And by the way, this brand of evangelical is just an independent fundamental Baptist. Now, you might be out there, if you're not an indie fundy Baptist, you may say, well, what's an indie fundy Baptist? Well, I'll tell you. An independent fundamental Baptist is a kind of Baptist that is not part of like a convention. That means that our pastor at the church that I go to, he doesn't answer to some type of council or a convention. The independent fundamental Baptists believe that the scriptures, the Bible, the Word of God is the final authority, and that's pretty much it. That's the host. Now, if there's one of my college professors of theology that are listening, I'll be getting a call later because I missed a few points. But by and large, that's it. That fits a lot of evangelical churches, and that is what they are painting Speaker Mike Johnson as. Now, here's why that's important. Speaker Mike Johnson has never claimed to be a Christian nationalist. This is a term that gets thrown around almost as much as assault weapon. It's a term the left loves to use but can't really articulately define. Christian nationalism, at least by those who claim to be Christian nationalists, are those who believe that Christians should be running the country. Now, does that mean they say that Christians, as in like there's a pack of Christians and like there's like the Southern Baptist Convention that's like making decisions from on high? No, that's not what that means. That means that as a Christian, I would prefer that Christians ran for office and that people that shared my values were in positions of power because, shocker, and this is going to scare a lot of people, I think that my values system is good and I think that it governs well. That's the tenet of Christian nationalism. Now, I'm not a Christian nationalist. Speaker Johnson is also not a Christian nationalist, but that's what Christian nationalism is, just for those out there who are wondering. However, the left then takes that and says, well, any Christian who wants to be in government or any Christian who wants other Christians in government, oh, see, those are Christian nationalists. And you see nationalist in it? And nationalism rose at the end of the French Revolution. Nationalism is what led to Nazi Germany. And so that national, that means fascism. Ooh, that's super scary. And then James Carville, he goes, I know these people. And everyone like nods with the drool flapping out of their lips. He knows absolutely no evangelicals at all. I would bet every single cent that I own on that fact alone, and not just the 10% that I'm tithing. To make matters worse, he then says they're worse of a threat to the United States than radical Muslim jihadists like Al-Qaeda. The kind of groups that just murdered and raped and slaughtered a bunch of women in Israel and around the world. If you believe out there in the far-flung places of Indiana where you're watching from, that Christians, that evangelicals, the people in your town that largely donate to more charitable organizations than any other organization combined, that would be members of the Christian church, if you truly believe that Christians are some kind of deep scourge on the world, more so than Hamas, more so than Al-Qaeda, than ISIS, then you are so detached from reality, I would need to find a mental asylum which hosts a smaller mental asylum inside of it for you to go get your head back in the right place. Because that's wild. I've heard some conspiracy theories, but Christians worse than Al-Qaeda? You've got to be slurping some serious Jonestown Kool-Aid for that to be the case. But, we have that quite often now because people take Bill Mayer seriously. There's this weird idea in modern America where anyone who says something that's kind of edgy, that equals wise. Like anytime Joe Rogan goes, I don't think that actually happened, everyone claps like a bunch of seals that are waiting for a fish to be thrown from the zookeeper. We saw the same thing with RFK Jr. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. gets up in front and says, I think the CIA assassinated JFK. And everyone's like, he said something not a lot of people say. That must mean he's smart. RFK Jr. said Big Pharma was bad. Oh, he said Big Pharma was bad. That must mean he's smart. He said something big and impressive. Toddlers say what's on their mind too. That doesn't mean they should be running the country. Just because someone says things that are at times politically incorrect, just because Bill Mayer got up on TV in 2018 and says, you know what? I think some Trump supporters aren't bad. And everyone's like, oh, whoa, he must secretly be on my side. No, stop it. Can we stop pretending that just because someone says what's on their mind, that makes them a good, leader? Because that's not the case. No, it's good to say things that are on your mind. It's good to fight for things that you believe in. As we're going to talk about later, it's very important that we stand up against the kind of oppression that is becoming very commonplace in this country that's masquerading as some kind of decolonist anti-oppression. But just because you speak up and you have a big mouth doesn't make you right. It doesn't. And we need to learn this lesson because going into 2024, Democrat governors are terrified that Biden is going to make this election all about Trump. This is according to Harold Hutchison at the Daily Caller. Democrat Governor Andy Beshear of Kentucky said, you've got to run for something and not against someone. And he's very much right. People want a vision of where you are going. We literally fought this entire debate in the school choice movement for 15 years. For 15 years, school choice in this country really didn't go anywhere. And there was a reason, because people walked around saying, public schools, you're bad. And everyone's like, okay. Then what? Just like public schools are bad, move to a different public school? No, you have to paint a picture of where you were going. And Biden's not doing this. Biden's not saying, here's what we've accomplished, mainly because he hasn't accomplished anything. And then here's where we could be going. He's just kind of attacking Trump and MAGA Republicans, which again is a term that no one can really describe. People just don't know the record, Democrat Governor Newsom of California said. He said they don't hear it, they never see it. Some governors have said that Biden should promote infrastructure projects and factory openings from the infrastructure legislation and the Inflation Reduction Act that he signed. I would be doing those morning, noon, and night, Democrat Governor Phil Murphy of New Jersey said. The Democrats are beating their head on the fence post because they realize that Biden is going to go into this election just attacking Trump because that's what worked last time. And when you try the same strategy as last time, you lose, as Trump has learned the last 6 elections that he has endorsed candidates in a row. Now, from Trump right now, Trump is leading because Biden is really, really awful. This election is going to turn out to be a referendum on Joe Biden. And as long as Joe Biden makes it about Trump, he's in trouble. If Trump does anything other than make this about Joe Biden, he wins. And he wins likely in terms of statistics, on par with how he did in 2016. If Trump gets out there and does the old codger thing where he makes it all about Joe Biden and attacks him and talks about all the revenge he's going to take and all this weird, egotistical, say whatever's on your mind codgerness, then the election's not in the bag. So we really have a choice here. Either we start putting our votes and our time, and we start encouraging those who are running for office to actually govern and then focus on where we're going to go, or we stay in the egotistical, cogical, fight blackout match. It's still undecided whether Trump is going to run to take us somewhere or whether we're just kind of going to see the same thing. Speaking of where policies are headed, up next, we're going to be talking with a representative from A for Arizona, because one of the biggest things regarding things like school choice and education involves solving some of the biggest problems. You're listening to the Tony Kinnett Cast on 93 WIBC.
Tony Katz.
I alphabetized my soundboard. Well, I'm sorry you didn't hear that. F?
Fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life, sir.
I have to go to S for Sopranos. Makes sense.
Yeah, I think you got it.
It's so clean now. It's fantastic. Yeah, we have clearly run out of things to talk about. There's nothing else going on in the world.
It's a great world, everything's so.
This show is stupid.
Tony Katz, mornings 6 to 9 on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
A house isn't a home without a little wear and tear, spilled milk, or muddy paws. But don't just clean it, quick shine it. Hey, Pat Sullivan here for Quick Shine Finishes and Cleaners with some Floor Care 101 tips. First, no matter the surface type, be sure to remove dust and debris. Avoid heavy chemicals or all-purpose liquids, as they can damage the sealant layer or leave an oily residue. Now, to best clean and protect your floors at a modest price, don't just clean it, quick shine it. Quick Shine Finishes and Cleaners use non-toxic ingredients, making it better for kids, pets, and the environment. With an EPA Safe Choice certification, and Quick Shine has a full line of products to treat any surface, including their floor cleaner, floor finisher, and hardwood floor luster. I use it on my own floors. Made right here in Central Indiana for over 60 years by Holloway House, a family-owned company. Quick Shine Finishes and Cleaners is available at retailers everywhere.
Michaelis presents Password. The word is basement.
Okay. Wet.
Rain.
Leaky.
Faucet.
Stinky.
Socks.
Moldy.
Underwear.
Oh, it's basement. Oh. Really? Moldy underwear?
Well, sometimes.
Ew. I did not need to know that.
Basement waterproofing and French drains. Life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it.
Make it Michaelis. Michaelis.
Come on, take your basement back. 844-FIX-INDY.
I'm getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20, a Pfizer vaccine.
So am I, because I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine. It can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines, Prevnar 20 may help provide added protection. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
Inspired by family traditions and peaceful harmony. Inspired by the reason for the season, our Savior's birth and his gift of grace. Inspired by joyfully serving you as we do Christ in our Franciscan tradition. This Christmas season, we invite you to join us in our prayer for peace. Merry Christmas from all of us at Franciscan Health.
Oh, look, honey, carolers.
Deck their wrists with tennis bracelets, fa la 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 la. Get the perfect gift at Hellsberg, fa la 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 la. Don we now our sparkly diamond hoops, fa la 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 la.
Don't forget the rings and pendants.
Well, that was oddly specific.
They had me at tennis bracelets.
'Tis the season to save up to 50% on the perfect gift at a Hellsberg near you or Hellsberg.com.
All of us have a role to play in promoting a mental health friendly workplace.
So what can I do to help?
As a CEO, I can set the tone for a supportive culture.
As a manager, I can offer assistance and accommodations.
As a coworker, I can be a source of support.
As someone with a mental health condition, I can ask for what I need to perform my best.
What can I do?
What can I do?
I can remind others that none of us are alone.
And that we all benefit from workplaces that promote good mental health.
Learn more at whatcanyoudocampaign.org.
This is the Tony Kinnett Cast on 93 WIBC.
Welcome back to the Tony Kinnett Cast on 93 WIBC. If there's one thing I've heard at least 567 times from those who are against school choice, it's, well, who's going to cover transportation? After all, if you don't have the big yellow school buses that are wildly overpriced and you don't have 800 of them per district, then how are kids ever going to get to learn? They always paint this picture of this child that's living in this dirt hovel 873 miles away from the day school his parents signed him up for. And he's like trudging up the hill both ways in the snow. Well, when it comes to that issue, there's a group from Arizona that has more than a few answers. Katie Dauphiné, from Arizona, thanks for hopping on with us.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to chat about student transportation today.
So I'm going to be honest. At first, the idea, like I've talked a lot about education issues. And this is not one of those things that, it pops up and everyone's like, oh, yeah, student transportation, let's go. But this is one of the most common criticisms of school choice. So it has to be addressed. Mm-hmm. So break it down for us. What's the solution to, not everyone has a fleet of 50 Bluebird yellow buses?
Yeah, so it's funny. In Arizona, we've been a leader on a lot of school choice policies over the past couple decades. We're actually just chatting today that we're coming up on the 30-year anniversary of charter school establishment in the state. So we've seen a lot of great work done in school choice, empowering families to truly pick education options that fit their students' needs. But one of the things that was the elephant in the room we weren't addressing was transportation. So back in 2021, I believe, Governor Ducey, and at the end of his tenure was kind of saying, listen, we've done so many things for students, but we haven't addressed transportation. Choice is not a choice if you can't get there. So I'm going to task you, Arizona education leaders, to find solutions for families. And so that's how our organization stepped in, and we worked with the legislature to establish the Transportation Modernization Grant Program. And so what this does is the legislature and Governor Ducey allocated some funding where we can give funding to anyone in the community that wants to provide transportation options for students.
Sure.
Whether it's like a walking school bus, and that's walking kids across the street to get to school every day, fleet vehicles, hop, skip, drive apps, anything they really want to do that addresses the students' unique transportation needs to help address those inequities that we are facing in the state. So we've had the program in action since 2021, and we've seen over 75,000 students that have been served by the program all 15 counties of the state. We have over 50% have been rural communities that have taken advantage of this program. And we've done 3 cycles, and we've had over 54 grantees that have been awarded grants. So we've seen a lot of success. We've had a lot of lessons. And frankly, I think where we are right now on seeing like how many innovations that have been out there is there's no one size fits all solution to transportation. It's really about empowering the family and empowering the schools to find unique solutions for student transportation inequities.
So that's kind of the thing that really draws my attention, is that whenever someone talks about replacing or at least creating an alternative to a core government, unilateral provision, they always talk about how the only solution that, and I mean they as in critics of providing an alternative, those critics often say, well, we have to provide something that completely mirrors in size, scope, magnitude, and efficiency the original model that we've provided.
Yeah.
And no, that's not what it looks like. Again, like not every private charter homeschool co-op needs a fleet of traditional school buses. And by creating a network that actually allows individuals to select, I'm really interested in like the hop, skip, ride, as well as kind of like the small private charter transport companies. When you actually see public education funding that would be going for transportation in public schools also be allocated to provide a little bit of a boost for private companies to innovate in that area, you actually get something that we haven't seen before, which is innovation in the education transportation space. It has not changed at all, other than, I guess, getting better CB radios since like the 50s. This is a very, very standard model of transportation. And let's face it, it's a little rusty. It's a little old. Doesn't work as good as it used to.
Well, and what I like to tell people, especially about Arizona, we have this big hole in the ground called the Grand Canyon that everyone knows about.
Yeah, it is true. I've heard of that. It looks a little bigger than a hole in the ground, but it is a sizable rip you guys got going on there.
Pretty good. But there's families that live up there. There's families that are in those communities. And do you think that an 80-passenger yellow school bus is the most efficient way to transport a student to school when they're traveling on miles and miles of dirt roads? Probably not. So what we said is to these school leaders saying, we see you, we see that there's issues. What can we do to be helpful? And so in giving them a little bit of funding to buy a fleet vehicle, giving direct grants to families, that's been such a huge game changer in our rural communities. We have people that commute 50, 60 miles a day to get to school because that school is the best school for that family. And they're making sacrifices. They're doing wear and tear on their vehicles. They're taking time off of work. They're spending hours in the car just to get to school. And so if we can give a family a little bit of money to cover those costs and keep that like momentum up, that's a game changer. And we've seen reductions in absenteeism, academic gains. It's truly transformational, and it's been this behemoth issue, and people are finally starting to address it. It's exciting to see the gains.
On with Katie Dauphiné from A for Arizona, talking a little bit about how Arizona has bringing school choice to the transportation issue as well, getting kids to and from school and the other various learning centers that kids are going to during the day. That's one of the points that I really want to dial in on. You talk about how you guys have seen all of these major things forward, and I think that I can probably put a pin in why. Public schools operate in a sense of funding where they tell the state, these are the needs that we have. This is how we're going to meet it because either A, this is the way we've always done it, or B, this is the best way to do it. And they throw that arbitrary out. This is the best way to do it. This is the expiration date on the milk. This is how we're going to be. And then the state has to provide the money to cover it. And so if that just means a big fleet of yellow buses, then so be it. That's the way it is. And so they will continue to pester the state until they get another couple $100,000, or I'm sure it's skyrocketed since the last time I've looked at a new bus, and that's it. But when you give a community a certain set of funding or a certain percentage of funding, a set amount or a percentage, and you say, here you go, make lemonade, all of a sudden people start getting creative. All of a sudden companies and entrepreneurs and philanthropic organizations, they start trying things that work and that don't work, and different methods that may work, like you said, up on the cliffs of the Grand Canyon that may not work down down near the border. These kinds of issues are going to be different from state to state. And that's exactly why the system works.
Yeah.
Because if there's no set parameters of here's the money you get, now work and try to make something good, there's no innovation. Yeah. Because when we say they're the client, but really they're when the provider gets to tell the state, this is how we're going to do it, so give us money, they never change, because why do they have to? They can keep going back to the same water trough year after year, and there will be fresh water in it. It's not a way to run an innovative cycle at all, especially not education.
Yeah. And I think the thing I love about Arizona, and call me biased, it's where I grew up. I love it where I live. But I do think the leaders that we have in our schools, public, private, charter, whatever you want to call it, are truly trailblazers. They want to innovate. They want to do things. It's just waving that magic wand to say, here's your permission to go ahead and do what's best for your community. And so we try as an organization at A for Arizona, and I know some folks that work in the education reform coalitions out here really want to empower that innovation to serve families. Because at the end of the day, that's who our next governor is in the classroom of Arizona right now. We need to make sure they're getting the best education possible.
And that's one of the things that kind of rings home with the electorate is as long as you actually have people that are bringing forward the receipts, then they're going to continue voting for it. And that's the good side of policy. We never really see the good side of policy because often so many people screw it up. And then the comms people on top of it botch the screwed up mess. So it's like you get a twice burnt baked cake, and it's horrible. But in this specific case, you have a genuine concern that a lot of people outside of the school choice space have that's been directly addressed. And the goals moving forward is just keep innovating because, again, our target audience, in this case, the constituents and their kids, are being served.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, it's hard not to like that.
And I think it's about empowerment, right? It's just, recognizing that there's not a one size fits all to education. There's not a one size fits all to anything, frankly, in this world that we live in today. And so just peeking behind the curtain and talking to those innovators, saying, if we gave you permission to do this, would you do it? And they actually go for it. And it's quick and it's fast and it's efficient, which has been really exciting to see.
It really is, because you're always told the fear-mongering tales of, well, they're just going to put kids on a cardboard box with wheels and throw them down the highway. And it turns out that's not actually how those innovative markets tend to work. Katie Dauphiné from A for Arizona, thank you very much for hopping on with us this evening.
Thanks for having me. Have a good night.
You are listening to the Tony Kinnett Cast on 93 WIBC.
Have you heard? The Xfinity Mobile Black Friday sale is on now. Don't miss out on a free line of unlimited for 2 years when you switch to Xfinity Internet. That's over $1,000 in savings. Plus, see how to get up to $800 off an eligible 5G phone. Join the millions who have switched to one of the fastest growing mobile services. Now through December 5th, new customers can get a free line of unlimited intro mobile for 2 years with Xfinity Fast Internet. Plus, see how you can save even more with up to $800 off the latest 5G phones. It's your chance to get connected to the fastest mobile service with 5G cellular and millions of Wi-Fi hotspots. This offer won't last. Go to Xfinity.com/Black Friday sale, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Restrictions apply. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. After promo, regular rates apply to service and devices. Actual internet speeds vary. Xfinity Mobile requires Xfinity Internet. Reduced mobile speeds after 20 gigabytes of usage. Data thresholds may vary.
Hey, it's Rob. I started losing hair around my crown and my hairline was starting to recede. I went to We Grow Hair Indie and they helped grow my hair back. My friend Dave First, a sports broadcaster for over 20 years, also struggled with hair loss. Dave, what happened?
My thinning hair was bothering me. For me, I'm in the public eye. I'm a dad also, and I want to look and feel my best. And if I'm going to do something about my hair, I want to go with the best. We Grow Hair Indie. They really set the standard.
Dave, that's amazing. I had the same procedure, multi-unit hair grafting transplants, which gives you more hair per procedure, saving you time and money. Call 317-522-2995 for your free hair and scalp evaluation. Find out if hair transplants or PRP is right for you.
If you're thinking about this, don't waste your time or money. Go to the experts.
Call 317-522-2995, 522-2995, or visit WeGrowHairIndie.com, the gold standard for hair restoration.
Got family coming over this holiday season? I do. It's Terry Stacy, and before they get here, I need a couple of rooms painted. Cardwell Do It Best Home Center has got a full line of best look quality paints produced by Sherwin-Williams on sale now through Christmas with $10 off per gallon. Paint and primer all in one with custom computer paint matching. Now that's a deal at Cardwell Do It Best. And speaking of matching, Jeff Cardwell and Cardwell Do It Best is supporting the Salvation Army Radiothon through my virtual Red Kettle. Now through December 9th, Jeff is matching donations up to $500. So please help make someone's life a little better. Go to WIBC.com and look for my virtual Red Kettle with Cardwell Do It Best, matching up to $500. Cardwell Do It Best Center, 3205 Madison Avenue, just south of the Gateway Arch on Indy's South Side. A part of our community since 1945.
Denise has been playing jazz for 40 years. Last concert, one of the musicians fell sick with RSV. Respiratory syncytial virus, or RSV, is a highly contagious virus that can lead to breathing problems. This time, she's choosing to help protect herself with Pfizer's RSV vaccine, Abrysvo. Abrysvo is a vaccine for the prevention of lower respiratory tract disease caused by respiratory syncytial virus, RSV, in adults 60 years of age and older. Abrysvo is not for everyone and may not protect all who receive the vaccine. Don't get Abrysvo if you've had a severe allergic reaction to its ingredients. People with a weakened immune system may have a decreased response to Abrysvo. The most common side effects are tiredness, headache, pain at the injection site, and muscle pain. Ask your pharmacist or doctor about Pfizer's RSV vaccine, Abrysvo, respiratory syncytial virus vaccine. For full prescribing information, please call 1-844-989-7284 or visit abrysvo.com. Brought to you by Pfizer.
Pierce Jewelers is Carmel's full-service jewelry store where all watch repair, jewelry repair, appraisals, or custom design is done in-house. See them at piercejewelers.com.
This is the Tony Kinnett Cast on 93 WIBC.
I gotta tell you, at the end of the day, I just want to go get my groceries and I want to come home. I do. I'm a simple man, and the simple pleasures in life are just getting what I ordered on my grocery order and then coming home to open up the bags and find those groceries. So we're going to talk a little bit about Kroger. Good evening. This is the Tony Kinnett Cast on 93 WIBC. I'm Tony Kinnett, and I'm also fed up with Kroger. You know Kroger. I mean, come on. You grow up in Indiana, you know Kroger. Kroger's everywhere. Or if you're in Anderson and you shop at Payless, it's owned by Kroger, so you get it. The problem is, Kroger in the last couple of years has kind of wanted to step it up to be kind of more like Fresh Time and more like Whole Foods or what's that other one, Carl? What's the other like fancy rich person grocery store? Not Trader Joe's.
I'm thinking of LA places, which wouldn't be appropriate for this show.
No, I think Kroger is like actually a swear word in LA. So
yeah, it's called Ralph's in LA.
Oh, okay. All right, you got me. All right, so Kroger. All right, so the problem with Kroger is not their produce. It's not. It's not even the selection they have. Kroger has often some really good deals as well. The problem with Kroger is their online service. So in the last couple of weeks, I have noticed a number of complaints popping up, not only from friends of mine, not only from colleagues, but also from individuals just around social media. And I kind of went down a black hole and found in the last couple of weeks, like 38 tweets. And not to mention like a Facebook search that found, several different posts in different community groups that really express anguish over Kroger's like inability anywhere across the state or the greater Midwest to provide the base level of service in their online shopping. So let me explain what I mean. So you'll go to Kroger and you'll order for a pickup. This means that they will send one of their employees around the store and they will throw your food into the bins. And then if the exact brand and type that they said was in stock on their website is not in stock for whatever reason, then they will ask you, hey, is it all right if we substitute, maybe this Prego pasta sauce for Private Selection Kroger brand pasta sauce? No problem. And then they bring it out to your car when you get there. The problem is, and the source of a lot of complaints, is that people have been getting double charged for things. People have been getting charged for things that aren't even in their order. People have been finding items that they didn't even closely come to ordering in their bag that they were also charged for. And then not to mention a whole host of other issues like produce that's all smushed and gross. Like they pick the most rotten plums out of the plum black piece of plastic. They store all of the plums in and they put those in your order. And the reason that this annoys me is because Kroger boasts about its online program. And a lot of organizations boast about having an online delivery or an online store pickup program. And it doesn't work. It doesn't work. Look, I have problems with Amazon just like everyone else has problems with Amazon, but problems with Amazon are the exception. They are not the norm. You do not expect when you order something via Amazon Prime that it is going to come to the door mangled and horrible or no one would shop at Amazon. Kroger has become a store that cannot do its online thing. And in the same way, when you provide a service and you boast about that service, you've seen the commercial with a little animation guy like measuring the orange with the calipers and they're bragging about how great their service is, and then their service sucks, kind of leaves a bad taste in your mouth. And it's frustrating because it's a service that I want to support. And it's like a lot of local regional hospitals around the state as well. There are certain hospitals that have a very good reputation, let's say in the OB department. Everyone says you should go to this one hospital on the north side of Indianapolis because it's a very good hospital. Except the problem that recently a lot of people have reported being treated like cattle at a lot of these regional affiliate hospitals. And so a lot of people are taking their business elsewhere. Now, the flip side of this are businesses that are actually doing things right. I really like Major Hospital in Shelbyville. I really like Henry County Memorial in, you guessed it, Henry County outside Newcastle. And there are a lot of smaller businesses that recently have been gaining traction. And in the retail space, maybe even though they have perhaps slightly higher prices, people are still putting their money where customer service and the quality of service delivered is good. And that matters. Now, this is common sense. I'm not breaking anything new. I'm not telling you anything you didn't know before. Oh, quality of service matters. Wow, that's some really impressive knowledge there, Galileo Galilei. I know. But every once in a while, you have to hear it because after your 8th time shopping at Kroger in the last couple of months, and like everything's tipped over and there's like a live goose in your produce bag. You're like, am I crazy? Is this happening to anybody yet? Yes, it's happening to everyone else all over. Again, I'm piling up with, there are tweets that have been sent to me in this segment. One lady named Katie, says that she bought 3 bags of Thanksgiving ingredients and half of them weren't in the bag. She was still charged for them. That was just sent to me while I'm on the, and this is very common now. And the reason why is twofold. Number one, no one really can hire good help today. We don't really hold employees to standards anymore. And that's a very big problem in American society because you can't really hold employees to accountability anymore. You can't really gripe at them because no one really wants to work. And also then our culture of like really soft, warm, squishy hugs. You're not really supposed to tell employees that they suck at stacking cans. But you know what? Sometimes you suck at stacking cans. You need to be told that. Like, get it together or get out is a good way to run a business. I would also suggest that the other reason that this has kind of become a problem is because every business needs to be everything. Every business has to have an app. Every business has to have an online service. Every business has to have some weird self-checkout. Every business has to have, and we like list all of these features that to be a modern business, it's expected that you are going to participate in. The problem is that a lot of these services are half-baked. And so what you get is a service that is worse than if you would have left that stuff out in the first place. I go to a certain bank that I will not name because I happen to like a lot of people at this bank. And for a long time, the online mobile app stunk. It was bad. It was nowhere near as good as like Capital One's was or other major banks, yet they still had the service. And after a while, it started to drag so behind that it almost made me wish that the service just wasn't there at all. And you say, well, why does it bother you? Just don't use the service. Just don't use online shopping. Just don't use the... No. The reason that it matters is because you only have a certain number of resources in a company, and therefore they must be allocated. And if you take resources from something and you put it to somewhere else, the original space does not have enough resources anymore. So if you're going to do something, do it right. Don't overload yourself. And if you're out there, Kroger, and you're listening, get it together, man. I'm tired of finding squash fruit in the bags of groceries. And also, I'd like to get the stuff that I ordered. So just a little side there. Was that really useful cultural content? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. After you get back, we're going to be talking about utilitarian politics. Keep listening to the Tony Kinnett Cast on 93 WIBC.
God led me here to the Salvation Army.
It's a tradition of giving.
Your donation is so important.
For over a quarter century, WIBC has partnered with the Salvation Army. Your generous donations stay in central Indiana, helping Hoosiers.
Thank you, Lord, for the peace.
Find hope.
Feeding people in shelters.
The tradition continues next Friday and Saturday. The WIBC Radiothon for the Salvation Army.
To protect his family from disaster, Steve used his camera phone. Done. By taking pictures of his important documents, Steve can always have them stored online. Learn more simple disaster prep tips at ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Denny Smith, and it's hard to believe that the holidays are upon us, but starting real soon, family and friends are going to be stopping by to share some quality time at your house. Are you ready? Zero Res will clean 3 rooms of carpet starting at $139, plus a free hallway and $50 off air duct cleaning too. That's the best Zero Res deal of the year, and the whole family will see how your carpets and floors are clean and fresh thanks to Zero Res. The Zero Res service is easy to line up, and you can go online at ZeroResIndy.com to do the scheduling at your convenience. And don't forget the ZR Water difference. No soap, no residue, no harsh chemicals, leaving things really clean. Now mention WIBC and get 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at $139 plus a free hallway, and you'll get $50 off air duct cleaning too. That's right, air duct cleaning, and it'll help you improve the air quality in your home, help you reduce energy costs, and help you just breathe easier. Call 317-388-5141 or online at ZeroResIndy.com.
No more joint pain. It's not necessary to live another year in pain. Call QC Kinetics right now and make 2024 the year you are back to living a normal life again. Tony Katz here, and QC Kinetics can give you your life back. They're the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. All natural treatments that can repair and restore damaged tissue, giving you pain-free movement. QC Kinetics has tens of thousands of satisfied patients around the country. People who had knee pain, back pain, shoulder pain, who were able to get lasting relief with no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. Make the call right now so you can get the most out of 2024. Got pain from that old injury? Pain from arthritis? Get back to doing what you love. Make that pain go away. And don't forget, you can use your HSA and FSA funds. Get your free consultation with QC Kinetics. 317-559-PAIN. 317-559-PAIN. QC Kinetics in Eagle Creek, in Greenwood, and now in Carmel, all with Saturday appointments available. QC Kinetics, 317-559-PAIN.
The next generation of streaming is here. Introducing Spectrum One Stream. Get 300 megabit internet for $49.99 a month, including advanced Wi-Fi, and one unlimited mobile line free for 12 months. And when you add Spectrum TV, get a Zumo Stream Box free for 12 months. Spectrum One Stream. It's streaming simplified. Visit spectrum.com for details. Offer subject to change. Valid for qualified residential customers only. Service not available in all areas. Restrictions apply.
Scammers often try to dupe veterans to steal the VA benefits they've earned. Scammers may try to obtain sensitive information or collect payments over the phone, offer to move assets in order to qualify for pension, insist benefits may be sent directly to a friend or caregiver, or promise to manage benefits or file a claim for you. VA will never charge you for processing a claim, and only VA can determine eligibility. To report suspicious activity, visit va.gov/OIG/hotline.
Indy Humane, committed to helping Central Indiana's pets in need since 1905. Find your new best friend today. IndyHumane.org.
If you can plan barbecues and weddings, you can plan to protect yourself from a natural disaster. Sign up for local alerts, prepare an emergency kit, and make a family communications plan. Get started at ready.gov/plan.
Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
It's the Tony Kinnett Cast on 93 WIBC.
Feels like I'm losing it. I got this brand new life.
I kid you not, over the break, I did get quite a few texts, Facebook messages, also a few tweets. You can follow the show, by the way, over at Facebook now. We have a page. It is facebook.com/The Tony Kinnett Cast. That's so that the rest of the WIBC team will stop bullying me about not having a Facebook page. I'm getting several messages indicating that a lot of other people are also frustrated with just kind of the state of kind of the whole grocery service situation in general, and it's very valid. But there seems to be something in the last couple of weeks that I've noticed from definitely some comments around some Indiana politicians that has kind of worried me maybe a little bit more than just a small rant on groceries. And that is this kind of utilitarian view of politics. So utilitarian politics can best be summed up as whatever works. And the problem with whatever works style politics is that you kind of tend to start treating people as numbers instead of individuals with souls and agency. And this is nowhere better displayed than by Jane Goodall. Now, you know Jane Goodall. Jane Goodall was that lady who went and studied, the apes, and came back and everyone was really amazed because she hung out with the apes, and it was cool. It was cool to watch some of the documentaries, and she talked about the different things that apes and monkeys, different primates could learn and do, kind of talking about different aspects. And as a science teacher, I always enjoyed Jane Goodall. And then she went off the deep end and then off a little bit further. So over the weekend, a video surfaced in which she said that she would love nothing more than to, quote, reduce the number of people on the planet, end quote. She says, there's too many of us. It's a planet of finite resources, and we are using them up. Oh, no, heavens to Betsy. Oh, there's humans. They're overpopulating. And you'll hear this line repeated quite often from people on the left. It's the same vein in the climate change crisis kind of line of thinking, is that humans are doing these things to the earth. And they're increasing drastically the amount of carbon, and it's changing animal migration patterns. It's not changing animal migration patterns. And it's melting the ice caps. It's not really melting the ice caps. And it's going to cause overpopulation. And then they say that's what causes things like Hamas attack on Israel on October the 7th. That's what's causing violence and migration from the Middle East into Europe. The reason that 20-year-old men are flooding into Europe from Africa and the Middle East that are aggressive Shia Muslims are not because they hope to conquer the place for the Nation of Islam. Even though, again, that is, what they're on tape saying. But it's actually because of climate change and because there are too many people. So what we really need to do is reduce the number of people, and everyone needs to start walking everywhere, even if you are 35 miles to the nearest Kroger with our online ordering system. And you just have to start doing these things for the planet. Of course, the individuals telling you this are flying very expensive private jets that easily produce more carbon emissions than you ever will in your entire life. And they're never the first ones to volunteer for reducing the population. You never see Jane Goodall go, there are too many people on the planet, and so I am going to walk off of a cliff. You never see that. Because you, the peasants, you are supposed to be reduced. And by the way, study after study has proven the Earth is nowhere near overpopulated, even in places as dense as Kowloon in China or Mexico City in, you guessed it, Mexico. No, it is not overcrowded. It just isn't. We have seen this time and time again. Infrastructure systems may need to be reanalyzed and repurposed and redone in large major cities, but no, the Earth is not reaching a population overcapacity. The most strict of estimates show that we could have at least twice the amount of people on the planet that we do now and still have breathing room. And I will remind you that whenever in the past people have felt the pressures of population, they left. They left and sought new lands. And you might say, well, it's perhaps a little bit different than, going to space and harvesting materials from, say, the asteroid belt, as it might be just to sail across the Atlantic Ocean. And I would suggest to you that you do not know people. There is no gap too wide when it comes to the ingenuity of mankind in solving issues that are present and in front of them. If a person wants to do something badly enough, they will find a way to do it. And this is something that has marked the ingeniousness of Western civilization. This is something that utilitarian individuals don't understand. They don't understand that people and their agency is what is worth protecting. That people are infinitely more important than dolphins or apes or whales or turtles or whatever it is we're going to pretend that we're saving this month. They are. And lecturing the entire world that they need to be depopulated while you sit there in your fancy private jet spilling all of the stuff that you say needs to be stopped isn't worth anything. The only kind of utility that shows is the kind of hypocrisy that comes out of individuals who see you as a bag of meat. And by the way, you see this kind of conflict come to play when all of your pseudo-sophisticates start arguing through why they say certain things are wrong. And you saw this with the kind of both sidesism from the United Nations. So the United Nations a couple of days ago was talking about how awful it was for women to be raped, to how awful it was for women to be assaulted, which is very true. That is a good thing to condemn. And then they kind of walked it back and said, well, but of course with Palestine, with the pro-Hamas people, that's different. See, that's kind of agitated over decades long. And then you started hearing people in the United States, even a lot of Republicans in this area say, well, both sides have really kind of done bad things. Both sides have kind of committed atrocities. And so you ask them to list some of those atrocities. And they kind of give you really vague answers. Well, I mean, Israel's kind of blockaded and sort of kind of kept them all down for a long time. And you don't actually get any straight answers back on why both sides are as damned in any situation. And this is a major flaw with utilitarian philosophy, is that when you treat all human ideas as kind of different forms of the same bird, like Christianity is the same as Hinduism, is the same as Judaism, is the same as Islam, is the same as agnosticism, and you start doing this whole My Truth, Oprah, Joe Rogan nonsense, you get to a point where you cannot argue why certain events are happening, and it's embarrassing. And it's embarrassing because you have a vote. Like, you have just as much a right to vote as I do, and if you're out there believing the most insane, stupid nonsense, then our country's in a worse place. And it's in a worse place because you're casting your vote most often based on the value system that you hold. And if your value system is based on the idea that everyone just kind of wants, like, good old-fashioned friendship and brotherly love, and you don't actually take a moment to study the individuals who openly admit that they really would like to have your head on a platter, that's not a metaphor, by the way. They openly would like to hang you from a crane, cut off your head, and then put it on the nearest servingware bought from Gordon Food Service. They're very open about that. There is video after video after video after video in Arabic, in Farsi, in English, in Russian, in Hebrew, in which individuals from radical Muslim states very openly admit They are a culture of death. That is not at all a paraphrasal. They are a culture of death, and they want to kill you if you do not accept Allah. Period. That is the Shia point. The Sunni and the Shia Muslims fought an entire war over this that lasted for 125 years because they thought that the other Muslims were too wussy when it came to cutting off the heads of the infidel. Now these individuals are spilling into Europe, and they're saying, yeah, we're here to kill some Jews and kill some, Christians. It sounds like a fun thing to do. And people like Jane Goodall to come out and say, oh, no, it's actually because of population pressure, and it's because we're too overcrowded. And like President Obama said, if we only give them, basketball in Damascus and jobs, all of a sudden they'll realize that maybe they weren't, we aren't so bad, and we can all get together and sing Imagine like the celebrities during COVID. Guys, it doesn't work that way. Certain cultures are better than others. It's true. Certain cultures value things differently. And guess what? If you value death over life, your culture is substandard. It is. That has nothing to do with your skin color. It has nothing to do with your genitals. It has nothing to do with where you were born. If you in your heart believe that Jews are substandard and they need to be killed, I'm sorry, but your cultural facet is not worth anything to me. And I'm not going to take it seriously. From the left, from the right, up, north, down, south, east, or west. And you saying, well, both sides are just as bad. I saw a video of a missile striking a building. And sure, Israel asked people to get out. Israel told people they were coming. Israel's fighting a terrorist force that has openly said, yeah, we're using our citizens as human shields. Oh, that's just the same. Oh, it's just the same, is it? I don't know what rock you've had your head under, smashed by subsequent rocks that are progressively larger. But it is hilariously embarrassing for you to keep continually trying to enter this conversation. And utilitarians are the worst, because now the UN Women has to come back out and admit, after the major backlash of, excusing some types of rape, but other types of rape are wrong, because everyone realizes that the UN nation states that make up the UN, the majority of them have countries in which statutory rape laws are incredibly gross. The majority of African and Middle Eastern countries that are a part of the UN, many that sit on the Human Rights Council, glorify the rape of young women if a council of men has agreed that she should be married to a certain individual. So no, you shouldn't be lectured by utilitarians just because they're Jane Goodall, or because they're Bill Mayer, or because they're any other celebrity or politician that says that you have a responsibility to follow their agenda while you're just some kind of backwards Cro-Magnon who happens to believe in God. It's petulantly silly. Thanks for joining us this evening. This has been the Tony Kinnett Cast on 93 WIBC. We'll see you here, same time tomorrow night, and we'll get into a whole mess of trouble yet again.
Winter may seem like a strange time to replace the windows in your house, but with Window Nation, today is the perfect time. And right now, Window Nation is offering you 50% off all window styles. Plus, you could even get 0% interest for 5 years. With new energy-efficient windows from Window Nation, you'll start saving money instantly on your heating bills and get rid of those annoying cold drafts that are letting